Hey everyone, this is Colin Macy O'Toole from Below Deck Mediterranean, and you're listening to Jim and Florence on the Forum.
Hi, everyone. This is James Patrick, and welcome to The Forum, the celebrity podcast where every week we have a great celebrity that excites us and you. And thank you all for all the listens. It's amazing. We've now reached out. I was just on the phone this morning. We are reaching out to some of the military people abroad. I am going to be taping this and giving it to them, so they're going to be sharing it to some of their military people. So in one of our last podcasts, India listening to us, as well as China. So we now reach 104 countries, and it is just amazing. Florence, you are so famous. I can't believe it.
No, it's not me. But I will say this, though. People are really, really loving our show. I mean, the feedback I've been getting, it's just been amazing, and I'm so humbled. I mean, I'm so flattered that people, not only are they loving our celebrity guests, but they're really liking us. They're tuning in to hear us, and they love our interviews. And like you said, we're going global because there's people from other countries, which I absolutely love. It's fantastic. My cousins in Italy have listened to our podcast and see us on YouTube, and they're so excited. So it's wonderful. Absolutely.
And when we get such great guests, and we really do appreciate you guys. We're just regular people doing this. We didn't know that this was going to blow up the way it did. You love Florence and you like me, so that's what it's all about. But I'm telling you, we're very excited. I contacted some friends at Google, and we're looking at doing translation for our shows as well, because like I said, 4.8 of the population is in the United States. I want the other 95.2%. I want everyone to be able to listen to our shows because we believe in our celebrities. I get Florence so upset sometimes when she says, I got this person to talk to, and I say, no, we're not going to, because we do fit a certain type of personality with us. We want people that we could be really proud of. Not that we're not proud of everybody else, but we really want people we believe in. It doesn't matter how big they are. And when we announced this, I remember the first person that commented online was Kathy Ireland, loving that we were going to be able to interview this person. So we're very excited to have her. So without further ado, Florence, why don't we introduce this amazing guest?
Yes, the writing community is so excited that we have this amazing author. She not only is a New York Times best-selling author, she's also a USA Today best-selling author. She has written numerous books. She's a prolific writer. And again, we've had so much positive feedback just announcing that we were having her on. This is Rachel Van Dyken. Rachel, welcome to the Forum. We are so happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Rachel, we had such an outpouring of support. It was one of our biggest podcasts when all we did was a review of your book with Kathy Ireland, Fashion Jungle. Why don't you tell us about that experience? Because you guys rocked it with that. You were on all the national television shows. People were, I saw you at 4 a.m. on some type of show that I'd never even heard of. So you guys were really killing it. How did it feel to do that?
You know, it was such a fun experience. It was fun just writing with her in general and just getting that idea out and getting the book out, you know, because having a book with someone where they've had like this idea for over 20 years, like that is something that's so special to me and special to her. And so it was such a cool experience to be able to get that out with her and work with her on it. And then to be able to travel, and, you know, before Corona hit, we were in New York, we were in LA, going everywhere, just trying to promote the book. And it was just such a cool experience. I mean, just being with her, and just seeing her passion, it was just really exciting. And I don't think I'll ever be able to top that.
Yes. When was the first moment as a kid or as a teen? A lot of writers we talk to say as teens, they really got the bug to write. Where was the inspiration really in the first time you really thought, I really want to do this for a living?
You know, I was a school counselor right out of college, which is a horrible idea, by the way, because you're only 21. You know nothing about life. Well, the fact that they trusted me with 800 kids, I'm still like, oh man, that was... we're lucky everyone's alive, so that's good. I was like a year into it, and obviously I was working a couple other jobs, super stressed out all the time, and decided to I was counseling outside of school too, and started taking my kids to the library because I felt like books were a way for them to escape, right? Because a lot of them came from really bad backgrounds. And so I'd take them to the library and say, okay, let's pick out 5 books, and we'd work through them and talk about different life situations. And so then I started reading a ton, and that was my escape too. And so about a year, when I was about 22, 23, I was like, I could do this, which is, of course, stupid because you can't just write a book. And I decided like, I'm just going to write a book. So in between the clients that I had, I would actually sit down and write books. And again, it sounds crazy. And at the time they weren't great. They were horrible, but it kind of got me used to the whole idea of writing. And so that's kind of how I got started.
What was the first book that you put out that you had success early on with some of the books that you did? They really touched a chord with the passion that you wrote with, and obviously with the romantic. A lot of women, especially, really loved your writing. What was the first book that you thought, "Wow, I really did make it, and I hit a home run with this one"?
You know, it was actually my second book, which again, I feel like my story. Whenever I tell my story, I'm like, this is not normal. So don't feel bad if your second book doesn't hit USA Today. But it was my second book, and I had written a book called The Ugly Duckling Debutante, and it was historical, and it was about Ugly Duckling. It was kind of like a retelling of that fairy tale. And I wrote it because I had some girls come into my office and they were upset because some boys were bullying them for being ugly. And I basically was inspired by their story. And so I was like, I'm going to write something like this to help them. And the whole concept was I wanted them to be able to have something in story form that would make them feel like they were beautiful. And so I wrote that book, and it hit USA Today and sold like, I don't even know, like 100,000 copies. Like it did really good. And so then that's when my career took off. I quit my job a year later and then started writing full time a year after that, and I've been writing full time ever since.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing. Wow. I do want to say I just received your latest release, Scandalous Prince. I just received it in the mail 2 days ago, and I started reading it last night. Let me tell you, I was up to almost 4 a.m. It was so hard to put down. I got so into Breaker and Violet, and I don't want to give away too much of the story, but let me tell you, I understand now why you have the following you do on Instagram and why your books go to #1 and you're on all the bestsellers list. You are an amazing writer. Tell us where the idea, because I know this is a mafia story, mafia series. Tell us what inspired you to do Scandalous Prince and to bring all these characters to life.
And thank you, by the way. I'm glad that you're up till 4. That's like the best compliment you could give me. Because I'm a reader too, so if I'm up till 4, I'm like, that's a good author right there. So I actually, it's kind of like a long story, but my husband, people were kind of making fun of him at signings because he didn't read my books. And he said, well, I don't read contemporary romance. I don't read that. And so when we were just married, we were, living in our other house, and he had watched the news and saw something about this mafia guy, this hitman that had just been arrested 30 miles from our house. He had been living in this tiny, tiny, tiny town right next to us for 20 years undercover. He was a farmer. Community loved him, thought he was just this old farmer guy, whatever. And he actually had been a mafia hitman. I don't remember what family it was from. It was one of the 5 families of the Cosa Nostra. And they brought him back to Chicago, obviously, to put him in prison. The FBI broke into his house. He had like $200,000 in cash. He had guns. And the community was so upset that they tried to get him out of prison because they loved him so much. Like, because he'd been a pillar in the community for so long. Like, no one knew he had this other life, right? He had killed like 20 people. And so Nate, my husband, was like, you need to write a story like this. This is something I would read. This is something that not just women would read, but men would read, add some romance. So I started my Eagle Elite series about 10 years ago based off of that story. And it's been my best-selling series ever since. But it got too long. It got to like 13, 14 books. And that's a huge investment for readers. And especially with 2020 and people not having their, jobs right now and just things are kind of crazy, I decided that I would do a spin-off series. And so I started this series, which is the Mafia Royals, and it's actually the story of the kids of the original people that were that Eagle Elite series. So that's Breaker and Violet, and the book before that was Junior and Serena, and it's all their kids and how they are trying to navigate this mafia lifestyle where everything is about, the Italians are it's all about family. It's all about blood. But once you're in, there is no getting out. And that's like the whole concept of how, as a 19, 20-year-old, how are you able to navigate this lifestyle of trying to be normal, like a normal college student, and then also know that you're taking over, like you're the heir to this huge multi-million-dollar industry of crime, and you know what I mean? And knowing that you have the FBI in your pocket, you have the police in your pocket, like how do you handle that sort of that sort of crown, that heavy crown on your head. And so that's why I started this series.
Well, Jim knows that being from an Italian family, my parents, my entire family is from Italy. I love a good mafia movie. Like, there hasn't been a mafia movie I have not seen. So not only was I really excited when I was reading up on the book before I even received it, but your fans were reaching out to me and letting me know, if you're into mafia stories, you are going to love this book. And I have to say, it was really hard to put down last night, and I was exhausted. But I was just like, okay, one more chapter, one more chapter. I have to find out more about Breakers and more about Violet. Like, and I'll be honest with you, it's making me want to go back and go get the other books that I haven't read in the series yet. And that was another thing that some of your fans had said, that you're probably going to want to go back and start from the beginning. So I absolutely am going to do that. But I do have a question about the cover of the book. Is that your husband?
No. No, okay, so
people that was your husband.
No, I mean, it actually, now that I think about it, it does kind of look like him, and he has been on a couple of my Mafia covers, because he does CrossFit, he's super fit, tons of tattoos and stuff, and he's cheap, right? I don't have to pay him, so to be on the cover. But no, he's not him, it's another cover model.
Oh, okay. Because I was told by a few people that, oh my God, that guy on the cover is her husband. And I put that down as one of my questions. I'm like, I'm going to ask her, because that's like a good little, piece of information if it is. But again, your fans are absolutely loving this book. So kudos to you. You have another hit on your hands.
Thank you so much.
In fact, when I put out the post, and I'm like your husband, I'm not into this stuff, but I think your books are very interesting and very well written. And we got a lot of responses about The Ruthless Princess.
Yes.
And people talking about that. That came out late May, I believe. And people had said that they were going to go get it. So I think, Florence, we're going to keep on that kind of thing. Get this one, The Scandalous Prince, but then get the first one. Everyone is saying is a fan. Ruthless Princess, I'm sorry. Everyone's saying this one is really good. And the reviews on both books, and we've talked about reviews before on Amazon. People can be a little snooty, but her books, 4.7 for The Ruthless Princess. That's the one of 3 in the Mafia Royals. 5.0 out of 217 reviews on The Scandalous Prince. So as you know, when we say get a book, it's not like guys writing in crayons. We want you to read books that are great. That must make you feel so good to see the people out there coming off of the great Kathy Ireland book as well, Fashion Jungle, and then you come into this and you put out 2 books within 4 months, and they rock. That must just be an amazing feeling as a writer.
It really is, because you're so right. Like, it's sometimes when you go on Amazon, it is like carnage. When you read some of those reviews, you're just like, maybe I should just quit. People are so brave behind their computers, as we know. Yep. So, and they think, for me, like, I put in hours and hours of research for my Mafia books. I don't just write what I think Mafia is. Like, I have a Mafia Bible that literally sits at my desk. I probably should get a new one. I mean, I interview people. Like, it's an experience. I want to make, obviously I romanticize it, but for me, it's my life. This is my life's work. So yes, it's fiction, but my goal is to give someone an escape, so much so that they can't stop thinking about it, that it's almost like a movie as they're reading it. So so when you see good reviews, it's such a good feeling. And for this release alone, I've had the most positive messages I've ever received as an author in my entire career over this book. So that makes a person feel really good. And when you work that hard and, you're not sleeping, you're trying to hit your deadlines, you're trying to, again, especially in 2020, like, things are just it's hard to get motivated right now because things are just crazy. And so, especially when you're trying to write, something that's kind of like fantasy, it's hard to just get in that headspace. So hearing from readers that the response is like that is such a good feeling. Your prices are very reasonable too. I love it that you're an accomplished writer and you're not trying to, Stephen King does the same thing. You're not charging $30 or $40 a book. Your Kindle isn't $20. It is so go on to Amazon. I'm telling you, these books are very fun to read, especially in today's time. I know Florence never gets sick of me, but with all the people
people. Wait, you're with your husband, your boyfriend, you're locked up. Nothing's cute anymore. Pick up one of these books. It allows you to kind of escape, get into that situation where you're kind of, and it's very interesting story. It's not like, okay, let's go to the champagne room. It's like, let's go, read out. What I like about her books is that character development is excellent, and it's very fun to kind of see the story interwoven, because who doesn't love mafia books? Who doesn't love mafia movies? So I wanted to ask you, though, one of the questions that we did get from one of our fans, do you take are your characters from any family or friend? What is your inspiration for your character?
You know, for this series, I made everything up because I didn't want to get killed. Well, that's one thing, but also I didn't want to offend any sort of family. I actually, weirdly enough, have a lot of readers that are from mafia families, which I know sounds crazy. So they're actually, my beta readers are the ones that are from the Gotti family, a couple other families that I can't say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so they keep me in check to where I'll go, hey, is this accurate? Does this make sense? And they're like, yeah, that's it. Or I'm writing another mafia book with a friend who's actually here right now at my house. And she and I are working with another reader who I can't say what family she's from, very, very prominent mafia family. And she had, presidents visit their house for barbecues, things like that, to where she's like, it was just normal, Uncle so-and-so. And I mean, and to me, that's so interesting. So to be able to write about it is so cool. So that's the inspiration, that's where it comes from. It's from even talking to readers, hearing their stories, stuff like that. I mean, it's so intriguing to me, especially mafia. I write paranormal, I write a ton of other stuff too, because I love to expand. But when it comes to mafia, it's so easy because there's so many cool stories that are actually real. They actually happen to people. And so being able to project and work off of that is not a hard thing to do because it happened. And it's funny because I'll sometimes get reviews where people are like, well, that's not real because da-da. And I'm like, no, actually, truth is way stranger than fiction. And I'm like, no, that happened. They actually did have a barbecue. And so that's where the inspiration comes from.
And to the Gotti family and to all of our mafia listeners, we are very pro-mafia. So, but we don't want to tick anybody off. No, we are very pro-mafia. But I think what is enjoyable, and I love the new fans that read your books. They haven't read, some that haven't read you before, and I've got 4 messages from people that said, Florence's post, I've never really heard of Rachel, but I've never read her books, but now I have, and I've got hooked. That is what makes me feel good. And everyone that hasn't picked up these books, go back to her when she was younger, also when she first started. Some of those books are excellent, really good as she's writing now. She's just kind of a natural. So please get her books and get this latest one, The Scandalous Prince. Another question we have from someone is, what was a book that you felt really touched you the most that you've written? What was a book that really was special to you? It may not have been your biggest seller, your best book, but what one is really personal to you that you really cherish?
I wrote a book called Ruin about 3 years into my writing career. I had to ask permission from my publisher because I am not allowed to compete against myself if I self-publish versus traditional publish. And they said, okay, my uncle was dying of cancer, and I wanted to write a book that was a tribute to him. And so it is a cancer book. But, when you're grieving and you're going through that and you know that it's terminal, you want to give yourself that happy ending, even if you're not going to get that. And I wanted to give him that before he died. So I wrote a book where the guy had cancer. It's a college book, and he ends up surviving. And and in the end, he makes it through, and it's a happy ending. A lot of us don't get those happy endings. And so he was able to read it. I wrote it in 2 weeks. He was able to read it before he died. We did shirts, we did stickers. The book hit number 2 on the New York Times, and I donated all the proceeds for his cancer bills. So that was definitely, and that's definitely a book people come message me a lot about, but it was one of my favorites, and it definitely is very personal.
And that was the Ruin series, right?
Yes.
The 3 books that you did in the Ruin series. I'm actually going to get that when this afternoon, and I'm going to start reading that. Sounds like some good stuff. And what an amazing gift you gave your uncle. That must have been just really special to be able to give that to him, because we're all affected by cancer. Obviously, we're all affected by that. So, and for you to give it to the Bills, because we know how expensive it gets, that's amazing. What is up ahead for Rachel? You've done so much, still a young person. What is up ahead for you?
Oh, you called me young. Thank you.
You are young.
I don't know. I just turned 35, so I'm like, oh no.
Oh my God. You are a kid.
So young.
Thank you. I'm going to take this. This made my day. So thank you. I just actually finished a book with Patty Stanger, who does The Millionaire Matchmaker. Yeah. So I adore her. We're really great friends. We've been working together for a while, and we're actually working on a couple pilots right now. So,
God.
Yeah, she's amazing. I should be visiting her in a couple weeks. We're trying to figure out how to do all this through Corona. I was actually down there with her in February, I want to say, in LA, and that's right when everything hit. So we were like, this is going to be great. Hit the ground running. And then we're like, oh, just kidding. So working with her, we just wrote a book called Compel, and we are sending that to publishers now, trying to see if we can get a traditional deal from it. And I know we are working on a couple other books. So I told myself I wanted to get into screenwriting in 2020 and teach it to myself. And then randomly, we started working together on this project. And so hopefully she'll hold my hand through it, because I'm going to need it, because it's way different than writing an actual book. But that's kind of the next goal I have, is to start screenwriting and turning some of my books into movies. I already had one of my books turned into a movie, but I didn't get to screenwrite it. I was part of the process, but I wasn't able to actually do the script. So I really want to be able to take control of that. And, I've had so many people ask me about, even the Mafia books going into a series, but it's so hard to just be like, here's 14 books. Let's turn that into a TV series. You can't just approach Netflix like that.
Yeah.
So my goal is to write the pilot for the Mafia series and get that finished this year and try to see if I can shop it around.
God, that'd be fantastic. We have been in contact with so many movie makers and stuff like that. Like I said, we would love to, we're going to give them your name. We would love to have your book. We would love to have your books out there in some form of movies, because we know how hard it is. A lot of nepotism, let's be real, a lot of stuff going on in Hollywood. So that's hard to do, but I think it would be great to see some of these books on this, at least in some form. I wanted to ask you also, you've kind of lived the life. You've met celebrities, you've talked to celebrities. Who are some people, you're a celebrity yourself in a way. So who are some of the people that you've met that you've really wow, this is pretty amazing?
Oh man, I don't even know. That's such a hard question. It's funny. I get asked this a lot, if I get starstruck or if I get nervous, and I'm like, no, because it's their job. Does that make sense? It's their job to be that persona or that person. I don't see people as, I don't know, even celebrities. I feel like we're all just people, you know what I mean? So I feel like we all just have a passion to do what we do. And so I don't ever think of it that way. I don't think of it as, I don't know if that even makes sense, but I would say meeting Kathy was probably one of the biggest moments of my life, only because she is such a powerhouse businesswoman that I was just in awe. I mean, she has all these companies, she has her hands in everything. And I think it's so cool that she's this woman that is just this leader. Do you know what I mean? And she's
icon. Yeah. She's
not
amazing.
Arrogant. She's so humble. And so just seeing how gracious she is and how amazing, that to me was not nerve-wracking, but just almost awe-inspiring, if that makes sense, because she's just done so much and continues to do so much, and so much for so many people, that it is, to me, something that I strive to be. Because I mean, I could go on and on about how great she is, but just all the things that she does business-wise.
We love her. Yeah,
she's just incredible. And so I would say for her, that would be my moment.
I think I agree with you. Florence and I are the same way. People will say, oh, you spoke to this, and it is weird. Oh, here's Steve Sharipper, here's Mick Foley, or someone, here's their cell. Well, how do you get their phone number? Right. And they'll see texts between, and you're just like, you know what? I'm kind of the same way, so is Florence. I think everyone else gets really into it, and that's cool. But I think we're all in the same boat. None of us are better than anybody else. We really appreciate everybody, and that's why we like you. You're down to earth. You're good. You're super talented. You've accomplished a lot, but you're a nice person too. And that's why we love Kathy so much. She's one of those few celebrities that really does care about people online, offline. She's done some things for us that we keep safe, and we're not going to tell anybody, but she's the kindest person you ever want to see. So
yes,
that's amazing. Who in your family has the writing talent? Did you get this naturally? What made you be such a good writer?
I think I just have a really overactive imagination. I can't even watch scary movies because I'm like, that's going to happen to me. I project it onto my my dad is a pretty good writer. He's a musician. So very right-brained. He can write music. He was in a rock band when he was younger. Like he's very, very, very right-brained. So I think probably I get it from him because my mom has trouble even reading. So when Kindles came out, she was like, oh, good, because it wasn't, she gets.
Oh, that's right.
So, which I get a lot of us do. So I think probably him. My sister actually also writes. She writes historical romance and is extremely talented. So my mom was always flabbergasted. She's like, I don't even know where this came from. I don't know. Like she doesn't know.
Historical writing's hard too, because you got a lot of anal people that will check every tiny thing. I know one historical writer went on, a famous one, I'm not going to embarrass him, but he put a book and he made a mistake. A simple mistake on something, and oh my God, people were just destroying him. And this is a famous person, so it's pretty funny.
They'll like set you on fire. It's horrible. Historical reviewers are like the worst. They're so mean. Yeah,
James Adam did not drink coffee. I'm sorry, it's just a little over the top. But also another question we had from someone is, what is something about you that people don't know that they would be surprised to know?
That's a great question. Maybe that I am like terrified of ET and anything scary. And I like literally like it's bad. And that I write music. I write music just like my dad does. So that's kind of maybe how the writing started.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Props to your dad. That's right? Pretty cool. Yeah. Also another question someone had is what talent you wish you had? Obviously you do music, but is there a talent that you wish you had that you don't have? Some people say play piano or excellent in sports or something.
I do wish I was better at sports only because I'm extremely competitive and I hate it when my husband beats me at anything. So like literally to the point where when we first met, I threw a ping pong paddle at him because he beat me at ping pong, which sounds extreme. He was fine. He didn't hit him in the face. He fell. But I'm super competitive. So maybe just, that talent to where I could just rub it in his face every single time. That'd be fantastic.
It's the mafia stuff in you. That's where the inspiration was. Well, we've had so much fun talking to you, Rachel. You have a free pass on our show. You could come on anytime you have a book, come on out. We love you to death. And you and Kathy really inspired us. That was the first celebrity review we ever did, and we got thousands of responses. We couldn't believe it from all over the world.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we could not believe it. So we said eventually one day, we didn't know if Rachel would talk to us, and you turned out to be nicer than we ever thought you'd ever be. Boy, what an amazing ride you've had, and we love sharing this. So the next book, why don't you tell the fans, Florence, about what you're going to be up to with our new celebrity, because we're going to be putting out a special celebrity podcast review of your latest book.
No, I was going to say we're so excited because for October, you are going to be our celebrity book club pick. And already we've received so many responses and everyone's so excited. And whenever I put a post out about it, it does extremely well on social media. So I already know there's a buzz around it. So I will be reviewing the book. Jim and I will be reviewing the book. I am in the process of reading it. Like I said last night, I had a really hard time putting it down. So as soon as I'm done reading it, we will be doing it for the next Celebrity Book Club. So I know everybody's really, really excited about that. So Scandalous Prince is our October pick for the Celebrity Book Club. So everybody look out for that because that's going to be big.
And both of them that we've done, Mr. Stephen King was kind enough to us. We did it. He gave us blessings, and we were very honored. And Kathy and Rachel, Fashion Jungle. I'm a male. Yeah. I loved that book. I loved it. It was fantastically written. There's it talks about friendships, the deep relationships of people, and I really liked it. I couldn't put it down. So Rachel is such an amazing writer. So again, Stephen King, Kathy Ireland, now Rachel Van Dyken. We are going to rock it in October. And Rachel, we have 2 sales from India already for your book.
Oh, that's you guys. Honestly, you guys are amazing. I'm so excited that I got to talk to you guys. Thank you.
Oh, we're just regular people who really try to do well for everyone because we really know talent and we know good hearts, and we really especially enjoyed that you came on the show. We hope in the future when you have another release next year that you'll come on again because we'd love to promote it.
You guys are amazing. I promise I will. And you guys, I love, this has been my favorite podcast I've ever done. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I have one more question for you after we sign off, but everybody, Florence, this is going to be an exciting review. We're having celebrities. I've had celebrities and you have too that have actually reached out to us for us to do the review. And it's hard. And I know you're dying because you're like, Jim, we can't say no to him, so, but again, I'm picky. Florence is going to stomp me one day, but again, we're very picky on who we have in our reviews and who we have that respond to. So Rachel's going to be the next one, and we can't wait. Please support her books. And again, we're going to be posting some of her books. The Ruin series, you got to get that. That sounds amazing. I can't wait to get that. Can't wait to read it, all 3 books. So again, they're very well priced. I know some books out there, you guys have complained, and we haven't endorsed them on purpose. One guy was selling for $34.99. It was 180 some pages. So no, we're not going to endorse that kind of stuff. We want people to give back to you. So please support Rachel and everything she does. Follow her on Twitter, her Instagram. We're going to be posting all her links on Monday. Follow her on Instagram, a must follow, just like with Kathy Ireland. Follow her, see her career and all the things she's doing. Thank you again, Rachel, so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And everyone, take
Thank
care.
you.
Wear your mask. Have a great day, a great week, and be safe.